So I truly believe that Josh is Done is the single best episode of Drake and Josh, which is really saying something as it comes from such a strong season's worth of stories. The episode itself really feels like an examination of the show's formula and just how reliant the pair are on each other. It flips several seasons worth of build-up on its side and really evaluates its two titular characters, Drake and Josh, unlike any episode has done before. So, as the blunt title, Josh is Done, states, the main conflict of the plot comes from Josh leaving Drake behind and moving on with his life. The build-up to the main plot is Josh preparing for a big chemistry exam that will affect his overall grade. We watch him as early as the cold open attempt to revise and get himself prepared for the test, while Drake selfishly pushes him to play table tennis and tries to distract him from the exam. After making yet again another selfish decision, Drake decides to neglect Josh, take the car and see a girl he barely knows before the exam, causing Josh to be late and miss his own exam. Which is the reason that Josh has a massive mental breakdown. I think this being the main hook for the narrative is really good. It highlights the differences in their personalities and establishes Drake's more selfish tendencies perfectly. Drake is self-aware enough to realise that he has hurt Josh, but doesn't understand why it's so important to Josh or his motive for removing him from his life. At first, it almost seems like Drake thinks he's joking or won't follow through on any claim, whereas the audience have seen how much prep work Josh has put into this exam and can sympathise with his breakdown in front of Drake and the rest of the chemistry class. I don't think any other circumstance would justify Josh reacting this way. Yes, Drake has forgotten Josh's birthday and caused him mental and physical distress, but it has all been a build-up to this moment over time. It also required enough time for the writers to develop Josh into a more confident and outgoing person with a group of his own friends to make this work so well. This might just be me reflecting on the series as an adult, but Drake is quite an unlikable character, and removing Josh just pushes his worst qualities even further. Once Josh has cut Drake out, we not only see how much Josh flurries as a result, but we see just how quickly Drake mentally deteriorates, especially considering the plot is only meant to take place over a 2-week or so period. Drake is essentially unable to take care of himself. He can't afford petrol to drive his car anywhere, he has no money for leisure activities like going to the cinema, and essentially has no people to confide in. Whereas Josh is surrounded by a big group of supporting characters, seems generally happier in his day-to-day life, and even scores very highly in a makeup chemistry test. The episode essentially proves the point that Drake is in a way a toxic anchor weighing Josh down. It shows just how much the series has changed and evolved over the past 4 series. Compared to the earlier seasons where Drake was the cool and confident leader that Josh felt like he depended on socially. The only part of the episode I didn't particularly like was the subplot about Megan going whale watching. I understand that she was there as a secondary character for Drake and Josh to bounce their new lives and problems off, but it just felt like it was slightly wasted. I think there should have been more scenes showing how much better Josh was doing in his new life. The episode ends back in the chemistry classroom. Drake has no idea what he's doing and causes an experiment with dangerous chemicals to go badly wrong. I think this scene was the right way to end it. I think it shows just how tight the writing of the episode is to have it end in a similar place as it began, but this time Drake is the one having the embarrassing outburst in front of Josh.
Josh, what? Look, I'm sorry. Well, look, let me finish, okay? I was wrong, okay? I was wrong.
What do you mean?
Look, I need you more than you need me. I need you way more than you need me, all right? I'm sorry. Man, I'm sorry I made you late for your exam, and I'm sorry I ran over your bike, and I'm sorry I'm probably the worst brother in the world, and, you're way better off without me, I just need you to understand that, sorry, Josh, I'm sorry.
I love Drake's speech here. I think that section of dialogue between the two is the best bit of speech in the whole show. For once in the whole series, we see Drake fess up to what he has done and seem really genuine with no facade behind it. Drake really feels like an actual person here. I realise that with an episodic format, the show always needs to reset the status quo. But on the other hand, I kind of wish this was it. If you're a fan of Drake, then I can appreciate rooting for him in that moment to reconcile with Josh. Honestly, I spent the whole episode rooting for Josh, seeing how much better he is doing without Drake, but I guess it comes down to personal preference. To me, this episode is great because it studies the characters individually and highlights how strong their bond as friends must be. Especially considering how much Josh sacrifices for Drake and knowing he won't be able to survive without him. That's just my thoughts on the episode though. I would love to hear what you think in comments down below. If you like what you saw, then could you please hit that like button and subscribe? Please stay close as I try to post new content every single week.